Welcome to the Adaptive Outdoorsman Podcast. It is brought to you by Action Trackchair, proud sponsor and champion of outdoor accessibility. Action Trackchair is committed to empowering individuals with mobility challenges to explore the great outdoors with freedom and independence. Whether it's hunting in rugged terrain, casting a line by the water, or hitting the trails for a hike, the Action Trackchair is the ultimate all-terrain wheelchair that empowers you to get outside. Custom build your Trackchair today at actiontrackchair.com. Action Trackchair, unlock adventure. I would like to introduce our returning guest, Jason Phelps, founder of Phelps Game Calls.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming back on. It's been a hot minute, 2 years.
2 years, yep.
Counting. I think we recorded an actual 2022, ironically. But so, how you been? What's new?
Good, doing good. Everything's growing like crazy. We've got a lot of new product releases. And we're recording this and towards the end of August, so I'm kind of in clean up everything, fix up everything, do all the honey-dos around the house before my world gets crazy with a lot of travel and a lot of hunting, which I live for. But it's definitely like the 2 weeks leading up to a lot of chores to do.
Yeah, I was. If you pay attention, the nomadic outdoorsman, Dan Matthews, I believe, his wife is due, I think, in November, from what I saw on Facebook today. And so his entire fall is nothing but family.
Yep.
So
it puts everything into perspective. I was the same way. My first boy, we tried to plan him outside of hunting season. He came a little bit early. We were in the hospital all of October, all of November, and so it gives you a little bit of it reminds you that there's more important things than hunting. But as long as you're not in those like dire situations, you're gonna have a hard time convincing me that anything else is more important than hunting.
no, I got one exception, and it was my grandmother. She passed away in November, and I'm like, nope, Grandma says otherwise.
Yep. Yep.
And she passed away at 84 years old.
Good. Made it a long time. I hope I can live that long.
Me too. My grandpa, he's still up and kicking, and this would have been their, I think it's 65th or 66th wedding anniversary,
Jeez.
and he's
Crazy.
85.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
he was 45 years old when I was born. My daughter was born when I was 40.
Nice. Nice. Perfect. You just took your time. Good things take time.
Yeah, she's going to be 6 months old and come October 1st, October
Gotcha.
9th. So
Nice.
I miss spring turkey, but I'm able to do hunting, at least my wife says.
There you go.
So what new products are you guys bringing to the table now?
So this was our big. I would say our first major like elk call category expansion was back in 2016 when we brought out the entire amp diaphragm line. We brought out the original Unleashed. We brought out the Mini X. That was like a big expansion from what we had at that time. So fast forward 9 years to 2025. We've got quite a bit of new stuff on the table. We did in between then and now. We've released the metal bugle tube, the Easy Sucker Inhale, external cow call. We did some other things, but this year, if you start at the bugle tubes, we released a one-piece molded carbon fiber bugle tube. So it weighs in. The tube itself is right under 7 ounces. Finished, it's a little over 7 ounces with its cover and everything on. It's a work of art. It's a beautiful call. But what we like more than any of that is that it has utility out in the woods. It sounds great. It's got good back pressure. It's loud. It's light. It's a good size. It's not one of the larger tubes like our original Unleashed or Renegade. And so it just kind of checked all those boxes when you go to design a new product. So we've got the carbon fiber bugle tube. We then have a Kyvan bugle tube, which is, I hesitate to call it plastic because it's really a fiber reinforced polymer. So I always vowed to never bring another plastic tube out until we could do something different, right? We had the big one, we had the really small one, we had the ones in the middle. Like, I don't want to just bring another plastic bugle tube out to bring another plastic bugle tube out. We were approached by Kyle and Steven out of the Utah area. They had this idea. They had it. They were 3D printing these parts. Me and Dirk were able to test it and kind of see, see how they worked. And so we went and joined up with those guys and released the Kyvan Beagle Tube. Well, the beauty of this is not just the materials that it's made out of, but its collapsibility, its modularity. So this tube, it is made in 3 distinct sections, and it will use patent pending coil lock technology to lock itself down. So it ends up being the size of an Nalgene bottle when it's compressed, or when it's when it's collapsed. Mm-hmm. And then when it's extended, it turns into a full size Beagle tube. So that one really checks the box for packability. Its size, but then using the special polymer and the fiber, it's a more rigid tube, which then gives you additional volume. It gives you additional sound quality characteristics, and so it turned out to be just one of my favorite, quote unquote plastic bugle tubes. Even though it doesn't have the plastic thump of most plastic tubes, and I was really impressed with that whole system. 2 new products on the bugle tube side. Then, so we had the Easy Sucker, which was a silicone-bodied call that has a cassette in it, and then you drop in the frames from our mouth diaphragms. We designed that as an inhale call to keep the reed dry, to be fairly hands-free. Fast forward to this year, we released the Easy One, which is its smaller brother, and it's an exhale version. So it's a little bit louder than the Easy Sucker. It's about half the size. And then we also added it to a retractable lanyard. If you imagine all the security, swiper credit cards that everybody has, like the retractable reel. You reach out, nice. Get yourself in the door. So you can hook that on your bino harness. You can hook it on your pack strap. Use the call, literally let it drop out of your mouth without the fear of losing it, and take a shot or have your hand on the bow or whatever it may be. Truly hands-free. A lot of people advertise stuff as hands-free, and you're like, if you let go of your bowstring right now, like, that thing is going to rip off your neck and get ripped out of your mouth. Like, this one truly is, hands-free. And then to top off the elk call category this year, we released 3 new diaphragm styles. In the past, all of our diaphragms utilize an aluminum frame. These new ones use a plastic frame with adhesive to lock the latex into its stretch. So what we did, I want to kind of preface that with, the amp will still work for 90% of elk callers out there. It's going to be your preferred call. These are what I would consider more of a specialized fit, a specialized mouth shape. So we've got the Vertex, the Summit, and the Pinnacle, and those are all, one's a high dome, one's a flat dome, and one is a reduced dome. So it kind of pitches that call and that latex in your mouth at a different angle, and allows people to put it in a different spot. So an absolutely huge year for us on the elk call side, which is really kind of our bread and butter and what we're known for. Complete revamping. I would argue that probably one of the most robust offerings out there as far as elk calls go, and we've got something that's going to work for you.
Dang. That is a lot of technological innovations from when you started to now. I mean, I barely know anything about elk calling, considering I haven't been out west to be able to call elks, but I've seen you guys do it. I've seen what you're talking about, and holy cow, I'm flabbergasted.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm fortunate to be able to sit in my seat and not only as a hunter, but design what I want to use out in the woods and what's effective, and then go out and put my designs, my ideas to use, and not only find success for myself, but find success for all these other people that use the product as well. It's pretty dang cool.
It definitely is cool. I mean, I still have, and I know we talked about this before the podcast, but I still have your Beta Pro. I believe that's what it is. Yeah, and I used it and I probably do something with the video since I'm on a new a recording platform or whatnot, but the deer behind me was with your game call.
Nice.
So,
yeah, that's it's some people call it cliche to to say that, but it's like, man, I get more enjoyment or just as much enjoyment out of like listening to other success on something that we designed or something that maybe helped out or assisted in the process. But I don't. As a game call manufacturer, you never want to take credit for any of that. It's just a tool that the hunter uses. Like the hunter's 99% of it. The tools and everything else are just 1%. So yeah, that's awesome to be able to know that you look at a great buck like that on the wall and knowing that your call just had a little teeny part to do with that.
Yeah. And I can definitely say I called in during that year. I also called in a doe, which ended up in the freezer because she, and it's a really fun story. I always love doing it. I was calling in the morning. She show up. Then she snorted at me and she left. I'm thinking, okay, just don't worry about it. About 5 minutes later, made a call. Guess who showed back up? Then she ran off again. This time I was actually flailing my arm out the blind, aiming the crossbow at her, dead center. She was less than 20 yards. And then she took off 70 yards flat. I'm like, well, she's gone. I don't have to worry about any more of that. She knows that I'm there. She's not going to come back. I call. Well, you're dead.
Yeah. Third time's a charm.
So your game call works on bucks and does.
Perfect. That's what we like to hear.
And I believe that you were talking about how if you put a little bit of air in it, once it gets frozen up or whatnot, it works. It does.
Yep. No, that's why we put those weights in the reed. It kind of lights them up, doesn't let them get frozen. There's reasons for why we do and all the testing that we do. And it's funny as we talk here. I'm sitting here looking at like one of the original prototypes that has like a plastic rivet. Well, that rivet wasn't heavy enough to get things lit up, and so we went to a brass rivet and trying to put more weight out there and control that weight to make sure that you have a call that'll always light up, whether it's been used or whether it's condensated or frozen.
Oh, yeah.
Try to design around all those things that, like, if my name's going to be on the call, I want that thing to work.
Well, I can safely say I carry your game call with pride.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, are you going to come up with any new deer calls, or do you pretty well have that one in the bag?
So, yeah, I mean, deer calls, the line's fairly robust. It's a fairly new category. We're working a little bit more on the accessories right now. So some stuff on the rattling side, and some of that stuff right now, which will be any new changes. But we don't have anything on the deer call line aside from special releases. So Clay Newcomb, who works with us here at Meat Eater, the Wired to Hunt guys, we've got some new stuff coming out, like collaborations with them, styles and stuff like that. But aside from that, nothing real new.
Yeah. What kind of rattles are you thinking about then?
So more of a synthetic, more of a polymer style. We've got the quote unquote the rattle bag, which uses typical hardwood. We use a combination of hickory, oak, something with similar density to whitetail horns, similar diameters, and everybody shoves the different shapes in the bag, and you make rattle horns. This is something I don't want to get too much into the details, but something that's a little bit more waterproof, something that's more consistent, and something that we've always said, like when a deer fights, there's different levels. There's the tickling of horns. There's kind of the back and forth, and then there's kind of the smashing of horns. Right? There's different levels, and so as I took on this project, I really wanted to be able to do any of those and do them very easy, like one call that can really accomplish smashing, tickling, any of the above. So we're a little bit out of the box thinking, and we'll see if the hunters out there agree or disagree with us next year when we launch that.
Yeah, I still have from a couple of years ago. I bought a Primos rattle bag with those plastic like rods in it or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then I saw a video where like, oh, they don't do the whole rattle thing annoying. It's clack, rack, and then stop your feet a little bit if you're in a ground blind.
Yep.
Get that attention like, oh, they're fighting.
Yep.
I don't think I've had much success with those.
Yeah. We've, I try to be a student when I'm in the tree, just out there listening, and it's like the first time you hear it, you're kind of like, what was that? And then you may listen for 5-10 seconds and hear another one. So it's like those bucks engage, they may lock up, they may look at each other, they may disengage, they may smash again. And so, yeah, that really kind of melodic, start, stop, go for a little bit, stop, go is how we tend to rattle. And where I hunt in Kansas for whitetails, man, rattling just works amazing, especially when you got a lot of bucks around, or you've had bucks travel by, or maybe you can see them 100, 200 yards off. You can typically rattle them in during the rut. Pre-rut snort wheezing works really, really good for calling there. We've had really good luck with rattling, but like I say, it's more of that like intermittent go, quiet go, and just try to be as realistic as possible. And we've had really good luck there.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons why I probably have had not as much success with the rattling is I'm on private land in urban hunting versus out in the wild, basically. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It could have a little difference there. Yep.
yeah. So, normally that's where I try to get the buck at is on the private land, so that way I don't have to drag it out 15 miles.
Hey, out west, that's what we're used to. You kill elk, deer, anything. It's like I got to put that thing on my back and hike out of here for 6 or 7 miles. It's always funny. And you go back to Kansas, and these guys are all go getters, but they always want to try to get the buggy as close as they can, or get the side by side, and
Hmm.
very little dragging if possible.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I will drag out of the woods if need be. I mean, it's on. I got about 10 acres of land, 8 to 10 acres of land to play with, and where I'm hunting at is in a. Good lord, now the term is escaping me for some odd reason, but it's station zone. Good lord, yeah, it's completely spacing out here, but it's that zone where they uh, set up and look around, see if the field's good, and then come out of. And so it's popped right about that area. Well, I shot a doe last year, and she took off 60 yards into the woods. So I had to drag her in the rain, in the dark, in thick brush, over limbs, trees, under things. I'm like, dude, you should put this in a workout routine. Just obstacle course it, and how much your back's gonna love you. So that's why I hope they just go 20 and drop, not 60.
Yeah, yeah. See, I've always had better luck with all the bucks I've shot with a bow, dying a lot quicker. The does seem to take off on a death sprint, and then you got to, usually drag them a little bit farther.
Yeah, that was that one doe I took in 2023 actually. Because yeah, I only took one doe last year, but yeah, in 2023 is when I shot the doe that did the three strikes and you're out rule, and she hammered it across the field 70 yards again, and then crashed. Like the only good thing is it's a field and I can drag her in that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Easy dragging.
Yeah, and I just attached her to my backpack with some paracord and then just walked. I need to get some walking sticks for that instead of like, oh, forward, forward. Get some extra hand movements in there. So, what's your season looking like this year?
It's busy. Right off the bat, I'm going to be elk hunting in Utah. Got a tag there. Going to head up to the Yukon to moose hunt. It's been my dream hunt, but I never really wanted to give up elk season. So finally, I kind of, um,
As
you
you,
know,
ag,
yeah,
dear
yeah.
Lord, I can't talk today. I can't talk.
Kind of messed my elk season up, giving up a lot of September, but I wanted to have as good a moose hunt as possible. So we're going to go up to the Yukon and hunt those giants. And then I've got Idaho mule deer. My wife and son drew Montana deer. I drew Montana antelope in the same area. I drew a really good elk tag in New Mexico out of the random draw that I shouldn't have drawn. And then I've got Kansas deer archery, and then my boy drew Kansas deer rifle. So we are loaded up. Too many hunts to do in a year, but we'll see what I can do.
Darn, I couldn't have convinced you to come out east to Indiana.
Indiana. One of these days, I'm willing to go hunt deer in Indiana. One of these days, right now I got too much on my plate, and I'm trying to figure out how to do all of this.
Right? Yeah, I know. I was looking at this meme on Facebook the other day. It was about 2 days ago, and it was showcasing, the normal setup of what the deer are like on the map of the U.S. and somehow, even though Illinois, Iowa, and Kansas were all these beautiful, great states, and then you got Indiana's, and then Ohio's a good one, but then Indiana is part of this dark area and of not so good deer, and I'm thinking, okay, this was made by a Hoosier because we have and I will continually say this till I'm blue in the face, not the world, the U.S. record whitetail. And that is no slouch of a state then.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's good. It'd be interesting to see like what went into that colored map. Like, is it opportunity? Is it
It
average? Is it
it was
opportunity?
I think it was personal opinion because yeah, it's like colored lines around certain sections and
Yeah,
one of those yeah, please just stay away from Indiana because the majority of those comments after that were like, shh, don't tell anyone.
yep, yep. Keep them away from your spot.
Right? Sleeper state, stay away, stay away. Because I remember I was talking to Tony. Good Lord, I can't even think of the last name. He probably would not like that, but part of the Meat Eater crew.
Tony Peterson.
Peterson, yes.
Yep.
Sorry, I've been up since 4 this morning and I've had to deal with small children.
No worries.
She's 4 months old, getting an attitude and also her own little personality. But yeah, I was talking to him a while back about it, and he's like, "Yep, Indiana is one of those states people sleep on." But
Yep. You think they got an attitude at 4 months? Wait until they're 14. My daughter's almost 14, and yeah, it's been fun.
I have an 11-year-old boy.
Oh, you're right there then.
He's
Yep.
getting the attitude. We were talking about the podcast, and I was like, "What? You have to do this? Well, why can't I get on the computer to play Roblox? Because I'm working."
Yeah.
And yeah, it's the ongoing battle of who's in charge now. So I know parenting is so much fun.
Oh, it's been awesome, but yeah, there's some frustrations in there for sure.
Oh, I would not give it up for the world, not one bit. So, how is life with Meat Eater? I know you were talking about it a little bit, but they
Yeah,
treating you well there?
yeah, things are going good. We're coming up on 5 years now. Things are rolling. The call company's never really slowed down, so it keeps me on my feet. Yeah, it's been good. Um, Dirk and I on the Phelps content side have been doing more of our own stuff, reaching out and working with some different brands. So that's been kind of a little change over the last couple of years. But yeah, everything's going good. They kind of, for the most part, leave us alone and let us do our own thing. Even though they, acquired the company from me. My job is still to run everything for the most part. So not a lot has changed. Yeah, aside
But
from that.
basically, you're now you own the CFO of the company versus the CEO of the company.
No, not even that. So I carry more of a GM title. And then within Meat Eater, we've got CEO, CFO, COO, all the
Yeah.
C-suiters above me. So, myself, Paul Lewis, who's the GM founder of FHF, Dave Smith, who's the GM founder of Dave Smith Decoys. We kind of all check into those guys. So we're top of the individual company, but then within the company, we reach out to those guys for spends and 3-year plans and stuff like that. And then
Okay.
but aside from that, that's a small percentage. The rest of it, we in-house call design. Marketing, how do we build the calls? How do we source them? Who's going to build the calls?
Yeah.
Is all on my lap still.
Basically, you just got to report to them and say, "Here's our budget for the year. We're going to be giving X amount of dollars to individual A, B, C, or we're going to be buying X, Y, and Z."
Yep. Forecasting. Here's what we think we're going to sell in the following year. Here's what we think we need to spend. Here's the schedule we need to do it. We have an operations team. My wife helps with that on our side, and then we've got somebody at headquarters that they kind of work together and team up on putting together the plan, and then we submit that. And here's kind of our spend plan. Here's what we think our revenue plan will be, and how do those jive? And aside from that, the majority of my work is in call design, marketing. What do we want our messaging to be? For the new products and whatnot.
Yeah. And I took business administration and management for like a semester in college, but it stuck with me, and I love business so much now. It just
Yep.
made me want to start my own.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just a dumb engineer. But it's you get into the business side, and there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of pieces to it, especially with social media. Back in the day, it was, it was print marketing or TV show stuff, and now it's you got to know this whole social game and how Google and Meta and everybody wants to use your money and making sure you're getting some sort of return on your investment. And so that side's like the new evolving side of it for sure.
Yeah. Me, I've pretty much with the way they say, oh, Instagram has changed and now it's making it harder. Facebook changed, harder. Social media in general, making it harder for you to get stuff. Okay, I'm just going to stick with what I've been doing. It's tried, it's true, and it hasn't failed me yet. Slow but
Yep.
surely, growth is growth.
Yep.
And I want to say this one. You know how often you get like those guys that want to say, I want to interview Renelia on media or whatnot. And, they're probably going to be doing like the hunting stuff. I would literally approach him like I'm talking with you about business because I would like to know what would he do differently? Well, actually, I'd ask you a question. What would you do differently if you knew what was going to happen now?
Yep. So you're asking me what do I do differently if I knew what was going to happen now?
Yep, I'm going to ask you now.
Yeah.
I get
I
that
don't think.
seriously.
Yeah, I don't think I would do anything really differently. Could we have grown it faster? Yes. Could we have made more money? Yes. But I always kind of return it to when you're building a house, if you spend all the time on the house itself and don't spend any time on the foundation, right, your masterpiece could still crumble. And so for me, there was always regulated growth. I had some what to most people would be decisions that would be life changing, or just like moments where, hey, Bass Pro and Cabela's wants to carry our calls. You do everything you can to make it. But I don't want to say wise enough. I don't want to give myself that much credit, but I was able to slow down. Like, hey, don't get starry eyed. Let's see if we can handle this. Like, can you build enough calls? Can you scale to that? Is it the right time? So I would say, like, I could have built this thing faster, but instead I wanted to build the team first. I wanted to be able to scale. I wanted to build a product that could withstand, any random person buying it and giving it a good review or liking it versus the people I could market to or knew on Facebook and social media. So those are two different customers in my eyes, and I wanted to advance the product. And so, just recently, in the last 5 years, we've started to sell to all the big manufacturers. And so I wouldn't do a whole lot different. The biggest question that I get is, if you had to do it all over, would you sell the company? And it's always easy to say yes or no, but the hard part is, like, would the company have grown like it has if it was still mine? Would it have did these things? And so it's not really a fair question, and I probably wouldn't change anything. I get to live a pretty good life. I get to hunt all over the country. I get to hunt some awesome places. My family's taken care of, and so I wouldn't do anything different. And to most people, and still to myself, I'm living a dream job, right? I get to wake up every day, work in the hunting industry, still run Phelps Game Calls with my name on it, and get to work with some cool people. And I'm very proud to be able to employ 10 to 12 people from the small little town that I'm in. Employ 8 to 10 other small contractors that help us make the business what it is. So yeah, extremely proud of what we've accomplished as well.
Yeah, I know. I was looking into, if for future reference, employing people, and I'm like, holy cow, taxes are a pain in the butt.
Yeah, taxes. Early on, we did a lot of subcontracting where it wasn't enough work to need to hire somebody. So we did a lot of piecework, subcontracting. Like, hey, you want to tie lanyards on the bugle tubes? Hey, you want to build diaphragms? Hey, do you want to tie lanyards for all the wood-bodied calls? Whatever it may be. We did a lot of subcontracting, and then as the company grows, you realize that you need people that are better at multiple things, and so you had to hire. We finally had to start hiring in-house. But we still have our specialists. Like, we've got people that we only want building diaphragms and doing nothing else. We've got people that we only want tying lanyards, and then most of the people that show up at the office every day they wear a ton of hats. they build calls, they package calls, they're a QA QC. You run the blister packaging machine, they do all of that for us.
Nice. That reminds me, I gotta learn to do certain things if I'm gonna start getting merch of my own.
Yeah, it's yeah.
I wanted to emphasize on this, and I'm gonna use my podcasting journey to, double down on what you were saying about building a foundation and whatnot. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't have that foundation, because there's no amount of time that I've beat myself up over social media stuff like, oh, it's failing, it's failing, it's failing.
Yeah.
And so I had that foundation, and then I joined Carbon TV, and I'm not going to get into particulars of the numbers, but when I started, I was in November of 2023, and then, small numbers there. But then when 2024 hit, was growth after growth. And from the quarter of Q4 of 2024 to the Q1 of 2025, in their views, which they do them via the quarter versus, individual, had a 35% increase.
Yeah.
So
that's big.
yeah.
Yep.
So for me, I'm like, holy cow. It not a big number thing, like, compared to like Meat Eater or some of the other podcasts out there where they have buku followers and whatnot, but for a small podcast like mine in a very niche area, and I'm not joking. I think I sent you the image that I drew up with ChatGPT about literally and don't quote me on this, it's the AI system, so, but only 3 active podcasts about disability in the outdoors.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
yeah. I think my buddy Aaron Ritter runs one of the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's surprising.
Yeah. I look at those numbers and I'm like, holy cow, the amount of people that just fade after a certain amount of podcasts is like astronomical. And that's the same with businesses. And you've been in the business for, you said, 5 years now?
No, so we started Phelps Game Calls way back in 2009.
Okay, so I'm having a bad day.
Yeah, no. Meat Eater did buy the company 5 years ago, so I'm coming up on my 5 years with them. But I've been running Phelps Game Calls since 2009.
Okay, so you've got over 10 years in here. Well, well over 10 years.
Yeah. It's been, what's that? I guess it's 16 years. Which is so. Even when I was still working, my normal engineering job, it still was, my weekends. It was my nights after work. It was all of those things. But it's been good.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm happy for that, man. I mean, you've been working your tail off, and you still work your tail off. You produce really good product, of which I can attest for.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, no, this is not a fanboy episode. This is not me saying, please give me something free. No. I mean, I got a deer on my wall that from a call I've personally purchased, and I asked you, online, I'm like, which one would you recommend? You said this one. I'm like, done.
Yep. Perfect. Now that's the thing. Like, we want these calls to work and be the real deal. And calls that people can trust in. So
yeah. So what would you say would be the continuing growth for your company come the future?
So to continue to grow, like, we still want to grow on the elk side. So putting a preface on that, but I think our real growth, being a Pacific Northwest company, we have great turkey hunting up here and great whitetail hunting up here, but it's not as prominent as it is back in the Midwest and the Southeast. So I think our growth from a geographical location is going to be on the whitetail and the turkey call side moving forward. I honestly believe our calls are, as good, if or not better than everything else that's out there. And I honestly believe our turkey calls are as good or better than everything that's out there. So, or we wouldn't build them. So I think that's where our continued growth is going to come from, is maybe not just elk, which we've got pretty dialed, but the growth on the deer and the turkey call side.
I know I've been on the site and bought a turkey call every so often when I was able to turkey call. I didn't get the turkey call last year, but I missed out on spring hunting that time. Actually, no, I missed out on spring hunting this time. My daughter was born in April
Yep.
9th. I was
Yep.
not going to be able to go. My wife told me no.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, this is the year I missed out on it. But normally I always get oh, good Lord, I forget that one. It's the Rippin' Red.
Yep. Yep. The Rip and Red. That was one of the originals. That was my go-to call from the very first calls we made. That was my go-to.
Yeah. Luckily, I also, when I started turkey hunting, I had a turkey in my pen before it died. So I was hearing it do calls. And so I was doing like the two-way call where you make it sound like you got multiple turkeys in the area.
Yep. Yep.
So natural voice, then your call. And that was the year I broke my foot.
Oh, dang it.
Opening day, turkey. I called one in and it came up from behind me on my right side and I wasn't able to see it and it saw me first. And then I got up and walked out. My foot was already had a fracture in it, but then I twisted over a log and literally broke my metatarsal.
Oh, man.
So my turkey and waterfowl have not been phenomenal at all. Like, if I could do hunting and do one thing and try and get it right, it'd be waterfowl and turkey hunting now.
Yeah. No, it's that turkey hunting is one of my favorites. I I want to spend at least 2 weeks every year out in the woods chasing turkeys around.
Yeah, I know. Good Lord, Jagger Musin. I mean,
Yep.
thank you for the hookup with him. I mean, he
Yeah.
was a nice guy, great stuff. He loves turkeys too.
Yeah. Yeah. He lives for it. I always give him a hard time because he lives in Montana. So for me, that's a state that's amazing for mule deer, elk, whitetail, everything else. And that guy just lives for turkeys. So, yeah, it's funny how something different gets everybody a little different, and that's his go-to. Where it's like I'd rather chase big game, but turkeys are still pretty dang fun.
Well, I haven't had good luck with waterfowl or or turkeys yet, but whitetail, I am. Well, almost. I've been hunting for about 11 years. This will be 11 years now, and so 10 or 11 years now. And whitetail, I've almost got year for year now on kills. So
Awesome. That's pretty dang good.
yeah, getting two a year. Two, I think it's 3 in my county alone if I get it with a muzzleloader, but I haven't been able to go out for muzzleloader properly.
Yeah, gotcha.
But now I'm just like spacing out. I don't know why.
It's been a long day. You've been up since 4, you said.
Yeah, working 10-hour days. Now, and now that'll actually lead me into a question. Do you work long 10-hour days still?
We do. Being salary is a blessing and a curse. We've got a pretty lenient leave policy, where it's kind of unlimited leave at Meat Eater. But what it does, if you're a self starter, self motivated go getter, I tend to take 1, maybe 2 vacations a year max, or 1 to 2 weeks off max, and then we don't take a whole lot of time off. So yeah, my wife works longer days than I do. She's usually over here very early and doesn't turn in as late. I have a little bit less, on my plate at times, or less what I would call busy work.
Yeah.
So yeah, very long days, and then I still have to fulfill all of the obligations for like company presence, right? So if we're at a sportsman show, let's say, Pacific Northwest or the Western Hunt Expo or the NWTF convention, whatever show Phelps Game Calls may be at, I've still got to pick up on Wednesday, Thursday, fly there, help set the booth up, do all of that, tear the booth down on Sunday and fly home. So there's still, even though where we've gotten this thing to, I still put a little elbow grease into everything that we do. And so there's that. So we do work long hours. So it looks like we're just having fun all fall, which we do get to, but there's a lot of other work that goes in behind the scenes, before we get to go hunt a whole bunch.
Hard work pays off in the end. So now you were talking about the shows. Do you ever think about seeing yourself bringing the shows, going to the shows out east, like for particular the Indiana Deer, Turkey, and Waterfowl Expo?
Yeah, those ones are tough because we've only got so much bandwidth. So we've always there's also a pretty big one in Wisconsin, right? The Wisconsin Deer Classic or something.
Yeah.
Or so it's tough for us. We usually go to the larger shows. Not to say that those ones aren't important, But by time we do, like, we go to the ATA,
Mm-hmm.
more on the wholesale side, but we'll go to the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show, the Western Hunt. We go to the Mile High Show. We did an additional one out here in the Pacific Northwest. So by the time you do a few of those, like, you're 4, 5, 6 weekends in, and then we usually do a few seminars throughout the year. You're burning up 20% of your weekends doing shows, and so, not to say it's not worth it. It just doesn't. It doesn't, pencil out real well for us without being on the road all the time.
Yeah, you'd have to give up one of the bigger shows or a seminar and do one of the smaller shows. And yeah, Indianapolis would probably be one of the smaller shows. But holy cow, dude, that thing's attached to an RV boat show that goes on the exact same day. They have a tackle town, an entire freaking building devoted to fishing. And then they have the Deer, Turkey, and Waterfowl Expo. And you would think it's small because of low ceiling, but and having it's so crowded, you think it's small. It's huge still.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, we know there's a lot of big shows. We've looked at some of those local ones and had people reach out to us. We just can't justify right now, getting to all of those. Not even because it wouldn't make sense business wise or relationship wise. It's just we just only got so much time.
Yeah, you'd have to have somebody that is local to be able to do the show for you and hopefully do it correctly with training and whatnot. Supervision by somebody.
Yep, yep.
But yeah, they if you ever get the chance to go, it's going to be packed and crowded, but they literally bring out a wall of whitetail. And holy cow, that is the most mounts I've ever seen in my entire life. And
That's
they
cool.
actually even score them too, right there.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a lot of those local shows. Yeah, they got Pope and Young scores, just scoring stuff, and then they do the horns and head and horns competitions, and yeah, yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, that's definitely something I at least try to get to that show every year now. Just because that's also where I got my new broadheads from Exact Archery.
Yeah,
German steel.
nice.
Dude, these are fixed blade. I have a four blade set, and then I have which killed that guy behind me, and then I got a 3 blade set, which it kind of looks like a muzzy, but it's a solid ferrule piece. Well, the 4 blade kind of looks like a muzzy, but it's a lot better. That whole muzzy tip, the trocar tip, I've tried spearing a groundhog in a trap one time with it, and it didn't even pierce its skin. That thing, holy cow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So what type of broadheads do you use? Yes, we're
So
going personal.
So I use and all transparency, I know Bill at Iron Will really well, so I'm using Iron Will broadheads, which are a cut on contact main blade, and then they've got small bleeders on the back. So very very well done broadheads, and something that I trust. If I do make a bad shot or have to go through some bone on the front end of an elk, they've performed very very well.
Nice. How big of a cutting surface is that?
I'm shooting the 125, so I don't quote me. I believe I'm an inch and a quarter. So I've always been a little bit different on my train of thought than a lot of people shoot these large expandables, these other broadheads. Like, my main goal is to get that arrow all the way through the elk
Hmm.
and out the other side. So I got 2 holes.
Yeah, I love doing that one versus having a one hole. Unfortunately, this guy behind me, he was I got the angle just wrong because I was hoping for a double lung and I didn't. I got a lung and a gut or stomach. So that was a fun clean.
Yeah,
I need to have a little bit more patience with that one.
yeah, yeah. That's always tough on a whitetail. How much time do you got? How quick do you need to be? Like on elk, I feel like I've got it real figured out in archery situations. But whitetail, it's like, where's the wind going? How much time do I got? Is he going to notice me up here? When can I draw? All of that. So patience is. I'm still trying to figure out everything that they pick up and the movement that they do see.
We need to trade like notes on this stuff because I'm just like, okay, make a call when they're not looking. Boom.
Yeah.
But I about 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, I picked up archery for the first time with I don't own a bow yet, but I picked up a bow from Bowtech and was shooting it. 47 pounds, and I want to try it in real life now. There's something about iron sights. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun, for sure.
So yeah, do you want to tell everybody how to reach you?
Yeah, so we're really available. I've got two Facebook pages thanks to Zuckerberg and everybody at Facebook. My first one got messed up, but pretty active on Facebook. I'm also at Jason Glenn Phelps on Instagram, or if you get a hold of us at Phelps Game Calls on Instagram, I'll also get the messages there. And then our website for all of our calls is www.phelpsgamecalls.com, but pretty easy to get a hold of. And even with as busy as we are, if you message us, get a hold of us, usually within half of a day, I'll get back to you either early in the morning or at night, or if things are slow, I check my messages in the middle of the day. But it's going to be me. It's not somebody else. We still deal with all of our own social media. So yeah, we like to talk. We like to talk hunting and help where we can.
Well, thank you, Jason, for coming on, man. It's been fun catching up and talking shop and business. Definitely something I'd like to do again and again.
Yeah.
And thank you again for the call, making such excellent calls.
Yep. Appreciate having me, Sean. Take
Yep.
care and good luck this fall.
Yep. Thank you, and you too. Now, remember, everybody, stay adaptive.